Hello, and welcome to another episode of AWS Tech Tales. I'm your host, Matt Burke.
And I am your co-host, Samara Reaño. Welcome back, everyone. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. We're now almost halfway through May, which is crazy.
It is. It is. I feel like whenever I'm doing like any sort of document or form or something, I still put four as the month that we're on, and then I have to like scratch it out and make it into a five, which is insane.
I feel like uh, I'm never like writing down the dates anymore. It's always
You're
just like
not?
a one note pad or like my planner. So I never uh oh hey Yuri. How is it Monday? I would like to request a recount.
I know. I was actually saying yesterday, how are we almost halfway through the year? Like literally, summer is upon us already. So the
It's not
2026 is going by fast.
Folks, if you've got your summer plans already booked, please let us know what they are in the chat. Velvet Enigma says, I second that motion.
I'm glad
I
to know
know,
that we're not the only ones.
yeah, definitely. I know one of my summer plans is we have New York Summit coming up
hmm hmm
at the Jacob Javits Center in New York City. So that should be super exciting. We also have FinOps X coming up, which if you're into the FinOps world, that's the place to be in a couple weeks. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, do you have any fun travel work for
Mm,
summer or no? We're sticking around the home.
well, for sure, I'm doing my second half marathon at the end of
Oh yes.
July.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, I'm gonna be doing that. So that's something to look forward to. I hope it's not too hot. I mean, although it's end of July, so it will be, but I'm looking forward to that. Hi Reginaldo. Hello.
Welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, Borghetti's on too. Borghetti's on early.
Hi.
Hey, Borghetti.
That's true. But yeah, anything exciting, any plans, maybe any certifications that people are working towards to wrap up by like the summer of the fall. I feel like I want to get the Gen AI Pro by end of fall being like the latest. I definitely want to get it done, I feel like prior to even Thanksgiving. So
Yeah, we have a goal internally, folks, for us to all get Gen AI certified. And yeah, I'm in Toe's actually teaching the exam booster.
yes,
So I'm in the
exactly.
exam booster, but I need to catch up because I just got back from vacation literally just now, just for the
Plus,
show.
plus one, I'm also in that program and I feel like it's super useful, but definitely I feel like I just need to go and book it. That's what I like to do because then like that I have to just work backwards to that date. Kind of makes it more purposeful.
Yeah, folks, let us know also in the chat if you're thinking about taking any of the Gen AI certifications. Um, Reginaldo's saying, is that too hard, Gen AI Pro? We don't know. We haven't taken
We
it
don't
yet.
know. We'll
We
tell you
have, I
once
have
one of us
my,
sits.
I have my AI practitioner, Boltamar, and I have do you have AI practitioner too, or just ML, machine
No,
learning?
MLL associate. Yes.
Uh, and Borges is very interesting topic this evening. And then Erie Edison, good for you, Zamara. I can't get through the word marathon before getting winded.
Thank
Velvet
you.
Indigo, thanks for joining from Texas. Um,
Yes.
so if you haven't tuned into the show before, this is a show where we talk about real life customer issues and what you can do to solve them. But today we're taking a little break from the break fix. We've been talking a lot about DevOps agent recently, and then that moved us to Curo last week. And then Zamara and I were kind of thinking about where do we go from here, and we both kind of realized we wanted to do some digging into building agentic apps and what that really like demystifying what that means because I feel like um, most of us have just been catching up on like what is a foundation model, like well, how do you train it, how do you use it, and now we're already like full speed ahead and build this agentic world, and we're like, wait, what is agentic? So Reginaldo says, I have the AI practitioner, and Velvet Anyone says, how much is it? Sorry, it's the pro is $300, but this is a big but. If you've taken and passed any other AWS cert, you get a 50% off code.
Yeah.
So it is mostly $150 for most people, unless that's your first one. And I would recommend if you haven't taken any cert before, AI practitioner is a great place to start.
Yeah, and I actually just share internally the link to the different AWS certifications that they are, and then pretty much you can go through the different links for the different certifications, and that would also give you um, the cost and then everything that you will need to know as far as what to study and what each certification focuses on. Thank you.
There's great practice exams out there. There's great, you can go to Skill Builder and take some courses there. There are also
Mhm.
some outside courses that people really like. But I think there's also some shows on this channel that'll focus on TNC, training certification.
Yeah, I would say like the biggest thing that I always recommend for people, and it was a huge, great piece of advice that I got once I started getting through a number of certifications here, was to always look through the FAQs. So the service documentations is a great source of information for any of the specific topics of the services that go deeper into the different certifications. So I highly recommend for you to do so as well whenever you're getting ready to sit for an exam.
Kill Switch is saying, I don't know whether this is a cert question or a general question. Which AWS service requires the most maintenance? I think it
Oh,
depends on how you define maintenance. I think
right.
managed services will do the maintenance for you. You just tell us when you want it to happen within the given week.
Mhm.
We'll run that maintenance and give you the heads up. I feel like the most maintenance I would think is if you're managing your own operating system on EC2, but that's just my guess, depending on what your question really is.
Yep. All right.
Uh,
So, what do you have for us today, Matt? What topic of
Forgetty's saying it makes sense building AI, agentic AI, when there are now AI platforms like OpenClaw or Claude Cowork.
cowork?
I like this. I mean, so the what we're gonna kind of explore is like what is like building your own agent, like what that entails. We'll talk
Mm-hmm.
through it together. We're kind of new to this topic as well, so we're gonna
Yes.
try to learn at the same time as you. And then if you've got questions, we're gonna try to solve them together, honestly.
Right. Right. This is a learning opportunity for all of us. I feel like we're all going to be going through this journey together. And then maybe some of you are already ahead. So please share your feedback, walk us through and how to do it as well. So, yep.
And keep the comments coming. This has been great. I know we got some few folks that have been pretty chatty, and I love that. Usually we start
Yes.
these off and we're like kind of when do we start presenting? Um, So I'm just gonna pull up my screen. We're gonna spend most of our time on the screen today, and most of
Mm-hmm.
our time in our uh, Visual Studio. But
Mm-hmm.
this is if we're really breaking down what an agent is. This is the simplest thing, and I think most of us are familiar with this three-step process.
Mm-hmm.
It's you prompt your agent, tool of choice. It goes to an LLM, whether you're using like Anthropic Opus or now we have OpenAI on AWS. So I guess we can talk about uh, ChatGPT or GPT, 4.5, 5.5, 5.6. But basically, you prompt your model and you get a result. But when you want to make it agentic, you're adding these tools into the mix. So
Mm-hmm.
you're saying, hey, not only is this you have this crazy amount of information in that model that you trained,
Mm-hmm.
at that OpenAI, Anthropic, Amazon, we all trained on your behalf. But then there's these things that are deterministic that you might want to use, like think about calling different APIs, think about calling different documentation, or what we're gonna do, like just doing math, right? And generally, agents aren't really good at math because the the model itself is predicting what the next thing is going to be. And so if you ask it, I mean, I think that one of those common scenarios is like how many R's are there in strawberry, right? It's it can't actually read the letter. It's just tokens. But anyway, so you get this tool use request, you execute your tool, which is an application essentially running somewhere, whether it's your application or you're accessing it via MCP or some other protocol, and it's giving the result and the context to the LLM, and then you're getting the
Mhm.
result.
So let me interrupt you and bring a real quick questions for Reginaldo. Says a quick note that I just came to mind. Does AWS have a solution for safe code execution out of the box? Let's say the agent needs to execute code to perform actions.
So it's a question of where you want that code to sit. Like we'll talk about what a simple agent um, agent code looks like, but you could also just as easily have that agent execute a Lambda function,
Mhm.
which will return a result, and then use that as context and essentially tool results. So it depends on how you want to architect.
Cool.
Cool. So I think we can start with like what a very simple tool would be.
Okay.
And this is our simple agent demo.
Okay.
And we're importing math function. So this is a Python script, by the way. And then we're using strands, which is I'll just bring up the website. So our open source SDK for agents, so you can use this SDK to design your own agents. So we're just importing these two things, and then we're defining some tools here. So we're
Okay.
doing what a cosine is and what a sine is. So how often are we in math class? But we're essentially saying like what we um, what we want it to be able to do here.
Okay.
And then finally, we're just defining here are the tools. You have cosine, sine, and the ability to divide.
Divide. Okay.
And we're calling
The
Claude
specific
Sonnet for
model.
yeah.
Gotcha.
And so in this like quick little demo, all I'm really doing is calling this Python script to have
Okay.
an agent um, provide the answer to this prompt, which is what is the tangent of 8.12515, and asking it to provide accuracy to 5 places. So really, we're giving it all the tools it needs to get the tangent.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't know the answer yet.
Okay.
So if I execute this script, let's see what happens.
All right.
So this now it's thinking through it. So it knows that tangent is sine divided by cosine. So we've given it the tools in the toolkit of sine, cosine, and division, and it executed each of them in parallel and gave us the answer. And so that's
Okay.
the simplest form of what we think of as agent.
A lot quicker doing that math problem than I would have done it for sure. I don't know about you, Matt.
I mean, look, there's the if you knew how to do that,
Mhm.
then you could punch that into a calculator. We're using a
Mhm.
very simple app.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
let's say you don't know that tangent equals sine over cosine.
Right, you don't know the formula. Yeah.
So it figured that out by itself. Robert Table says, I'm a big fan of providing a calculator to your LLMs because LLMs shouldn't be trusted to just know math. Exactly.
Yes. Uh-huh. That's a good point.
I think the thing that really amazes me about the frontier and foundation models is that we built something that understands language. It
Mhm.
understands your intent usually, but then the rest of this is like maybe we've spent the past 20 years building calculator programs. Maybe we can do that. So this is the simplest form of building building an agent, right? We're
Okay.
giving
Mhm.
instead of it just being I prompt the model directly and it gives me a result that's just based on the model's own knowledge or what it's guessing. Um, we give it the tools that it needs to solve the problem.
Yes.
So
I wonder what it would say if like at least when I was in certain math classes, you got an answer, but then you had to like do the reverse solution to make sure that it was correct. I wonder if it does that.
Oh, okay. Well, let's do that. Let's do okay, so this is an actual so let's try it. What if it tells me it's I'm wrong? So tangent, well, this is gonna actually giving me a different answer. Hold
Well, while you work into that, Brigetti says, I'm a big fan of Robert Tables. Hi, Rob.
on.
See, you are
I
all
like that our fans
expecting each other.
are what's it called? I think I probably did this tangent function. So now, see, here's the question: is am I even looking at for the right calculator here? This is of a degree.
Okay, this one is
Yeah, there we go. 359. That's what we saw here.
359.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm not crazy.
359,691. Yep. Yep, 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 yep.
And just to show this is live, someone wants to put in the chat what a much bigger number is, and we can edit the script. What do
Yeah,
we
go
think?
for it. Someone wants to throw a bigger number into the agent and see what comes up with. This is your opportunity. Robert, you like giving math to your LLMs.
While we're waiting for that, so our next idea here is that so we have this simple tool, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that we can do beyond just calling an agent and giving it specific tools is give it a bit of personality, right? Give it a bit
Mm-hmm.
of a prompt.
Mm-hmm.
So let me pull up um, our so we have our simple tools.py.
Okay.
So we're getting a bit more in terms of we're giving it cosine, we're giving it sine. Oh, so I saw the demonstration of giving your LLM a calculator last week at Twilio Signal, and this stream reminded me, oh, that's awesome. Like they're kind of all talking about the same things in different places.
And I think that there was
Uh,
an episode where I wasn't in the episode. I think it was a guest, and you all built a calculator as well, if I'm not mistaken, Matt, not too long ago.
oh, we built the calculator app via Gen AI, remember?
Yes, yes.
That was very funny. Um, Let me see. So I'm trying to see what we want to call out in our specific
Okay.
agent. So, oh, run agent. So let me go back. So these are just the tools, right? So we have our own script, the Python script that's just the tools. We're not even calling what model we're going to use. And then run agent, we're importing from simple tools,
Tools,
cosine, sine, and
sign and
divide.
divide.
And we're saying we're using Sonnet 4.5, but also we're giving it a system prompt that we want it to talk like a cartoonish villain in single sentences.
Okay.
So we're giving it we're feeding it some context or prompting. And Reginaldo says, I see you're using tools. What about building CLIs for coding agents? I've been seeing some engineers building and claiming it seems way less tokens for
Tokens and
MCP, for example. I don't have a lot of experience in building my own CLIs, but
mm-hmm.
I have heard similar things about like folks are trying to figure out what can you do to deal with the context window. And what's interesting enough is that like as folks are trying to build, CLIs instead like versus MCPs, like the context windows keep expanding to now like, 2 million plus tokens in the context window. So, chicken or the egg. I don't have a strong opinion on it yet. Uh, so let's just run through this.
Okay.
So I'm
All
gonna go
right.
back.
Sorry. So what is it that you're going to ask for it here?
So this is, I got through this. So basically, this is gonna ask for tangent, cotangent, what's 3 divided by 0, and it's gonna print out
Got
all
you.
those
Okay.
messages.
Okay.
So we're gonna do Python. Again, this is like a simple Python script to test out what an agent would function.
Okay.
And we're prompting directly in the script too. Typically, I feel like people are so um, used to the prompts being outside of it.
Okay. Very well. I shall compute this by dividing.
So
Mm,
this is what Sonnet's coming up with, which I think is very funny.
yeah, I like the commentary. Now witness the final calculation of doom.
Well, let me close the Explorer,
Okay.
or can I even move it over? There we go. So I asked it to divide by 0, and then it said, "Do you think you can trick me into dividing by 0? That
The
operation is
operation is
undefined."
undefined. You met. Oh, no.
So this is what it actually started to output, and then it did this nice little result of what the
Yeah.
messages are.
Okay. So more conversational once like went through is going through the processes.
Mhm. So I think then maybe so the rest of what I've got is like some like structures around how to make a tool, how to make the tool schema, and how to define the functions. But I think that maybe we can kind of skip ahead
Uh-huh.
to just building some what a simple agent is, like what a simple reusable agent is.
Hmm. I like the fact that you can give it a persona and very precise into like a single sentence so it doesn't like just go on like full conversation. Okay, so apart from giving it, let's say in the simple one, kind of like the formula, what if you just ask uh what a contingent is, for example, or to explain. Oh, you already did it. I see it there. Continue into the
Yeah, yeah,
conversation. It's giving you the prompts that you can continue asking within that same topic.
yeah. We're prompting directly from the script. So now we're gonna
Hmm.
move over to bouncing between us to the demo apps. So
Okay.
let's look at what our basic agent looks like. This is a basic reusable agent, what this would look like.
So we have another question for Reginaldo. Can you explain about these models versioning inside AWS, specifically their life cycle? Does AWS deletes them after some time and how to properly handle version updates?
Yeah, so eventually we will end of life certain uh, models. Like let's go to Bedrock, for example. And that's really just dependent on both like the model provider, like how long that they want to continue running them, and then also how long we will host them.
Hmm.
And so if we go to the model catalog, let's think about like Anthropic, for example. We can go all the way back and you can see there's legacy
Hmm.
to 3.5, and let's see if there's any. So this has been around since almost 2 years ago,
Hmm.
and I don't see any. It says legacy, but I don't see any. Um,
It doesn't give you any warning or any message regarding, an end date or something where you could use it.
yeah, but let's see. Blonde, Bedrock. end of life. Model life cycle. Here you go. So this is kind of how it would go. So let's find our clause. So like for example, I got my 3.7 sonnet and it's legacy October 28th and it's end of life October 28th, 2026. And then um,
Public
yeah,
extended access start date January 2026. So it's already past the end of life.
yeah.
Hmm.
And then if I look in, let's see, model catalog, let's see if it's even here. See, it's not even here. I got
Hmm.
3.5,
Hmm.
I have 4, but I don't 3.7. So that's kind of how it would work, Reginaldo, is that we publish these life cycle dates. So for example, 3.5 is good until July 30th. So a long time is dependent on how you feel. Like 3.5 will be gone by July. So it really depends. Things do move quickly, but we will give you a lot of advance notice to kind of test out what a new model looks like. And then of course, sometimes these end of life dates get pushed, but in general, if we look at like what's a newer model, um, let's see, something from we've got 3,
Another
like
thing
even
too,
Sonnet
you can
is
really
good until
use,
October.
yeah, you can really use this table to also inform you of like when will be the end of life or something that you want to start using, and then kind of go through, the thought process of how long you want to use it for. Havoc says, I've never used VS Code Web. Any benefit on using that over Kiro IDE?
No, I think the reason why we're using VS Code on the web is for these demos is because to do Curo um, through the web, like it's a desktop app still. So I've seen some really creative ways of like creating a workspace or a VDI to be able to uh, host it on like AppStream or something like that. This is kind of just a simple like we can run a server on EC2 and host it on CloudFront, for example. That's how I'm accessing this demo. So if you're more familiar with VS Code, you can always use the Kiro plugin. Iriad says it's funny everything is moving so fast that models only a couple years older now. I know, and the legacy thing I do want to call out. We're talking about here. When a legacy model enters the public access extended portion of it, pricing may
May
increase.
increase.
Right. So we're kind of giving you a pocketbook incentive
Hmm.
to maybe not keep using it. But some people really like, they built an app based on a model of choice, and and it takes time to move quickly.
We have another question from Robert Table says, does anyone have a good story of automated testing of new models that come out to ensure no terrible regressions?
That's a great question that I don't have the answer to. Maybe folks in the chat
Yeah,
have a
members of
good
the
answer.
audience. Hmm.
I think we've gone through a few. I mean, in the past 2 years, like cycles already. Like people used a lot of like let's say Sonnet 3.5, and then moved to 4, and now we're at 4.7. Um, so we've gone through a lot of these cycles, and I don't know if it's going faster, but I think we're finally getting to the point where things are finally we have a lot of these that are going EOL by the end of the year.
Hmm.
So it's very interesting,
Cool. I hope that
especially
that
if you
answered
can
your
get.
question, Reginaldo.
Yeah, I hope so too. So to go back to our basic reusable agent, so we're importing math into Python. So again, we're just giving it math functions, and then from typing the typing module, and from strands we're importing agent and tool. So then we're able to describe the tools for cosine. We're able to
Hmm.
describe the tool for sine, the division. We have no
Hmm.
multiplication, unfortunately. And then this create agent. So again, we're giving it the agent cosine, sine, divide, and we're giving it
And then in the model.
quad height.
Hmm.
And that's our basic
Reginaldo
model.
says that was really helpful. Thank you. You're welcome. Go
So
ahead.
now we get to the part that I think folks are most familiar with, which is then um, what does the CLI app look like? We've defined this agent. The CLI would look like this. So we have from basic agent, so we're calling this,
Mm-hmm.
we're saying create an agent,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're adding this definition for parsing the arguments, which is like, if you need to pass along some arguments.
Okay.
Um, and basically, if you're doing dash dash prompt or dash p, that's the prompt that we're sending to the agent directly. So in effect, if I run this command, which is Python CLI.py, now I'm doing dash dash prompt, which is our argument. What is the
Mm-hmm.
cosine? I can have it call that and say and give me the output, and it's doing that math via the tool. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, I can also prompt it. Um, oh, I went too fast. Anything like Zamara, what should I ask Claude, for example?
Hmm.
Anything, any question in the world.
Anything. It doesn't have to be related to this specific topic.
No, no.
Okay. When is the World Cup? When is the next FIFA World Cup?
See, we'll be all in 2026, hosted in the United
Yep.
States, Canada, and Mexico.
This is
So
correct.
yeah, but it says this is not something I can calculate with the mathematical tools available to me.
Yeah, of course. Well, you said anything.
No, no, but I wanted to show folks that we've created a small little app
Mm-hmm.
that is
Mm-hmm.
essentially prompting Bedrock directly via the model of our choice. We're
Mm-hmm.
able to define what tools it has access to and then give folks that access. And that's our agent in a nutshell. Like we can get super complicated with very custom tooling that we define, that we build. Um, but we're still not all the way there yet because we're doing this via CLI. And Reginaldo
Uh,
says,
yep.
where would you add the guardrail for this local app, locally or in AWS guardrails, and why? So you can define guardrails within Bedrock itself,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then in terms of like right now it's just the model. So really, the only thing you would have to be worried about is like guardrails on prompt. So like you're not asking it anything you don't like the folks aren't asking anything you don't want it to ask. Like, let's say this is an app for high schoolers and you don't want them sending the model sending anything back inappropriate.
Mm-hmm.
That would
Mm-hmm.
be a guardrail. And then Havoc Noodle says, how do you ensure that the agent uses the tools? It so that's an interesting question. How do I? And I say it like that because the agent is deciding on its own when to use the tools based
Mm-hmm.
on the context that I'm giving it on the tools it has access to. If we think about the um, the tooling that I'm defining for it in this basic agent, I'm essentially saying this is what it does. It calculates the cosine and the value and what it would how to output to it. So we're basically feeding it the context and relying on it to make the decision on its own.
Right. To actually use what you are asking it to use rather than just, not. Uh, we have another one. It says, do you need to say use these hard constraints or checkpoint rules directly in the prompt to ensure it uses the tools?
I think that's based on your testing. What we're showing here is let me clear this. is that we don't need to define. We're not doing anything special in our prompt.
I mean, you can
It's
ask it how it got to that answer, or how what tools did it use, and then you should be able to get a response that gives you how
why
it
does it
came
do
up to
that
that
sometimes?
specific answer.
See, look, so there's I'd be happy to help you calculate the cosine when you provide the value. So I think that's part of the testing. Like
Hmm.
again, I think Zamar and I are both working through this and
What
walking you through it at real time. Um,
we have another question. What happens when you have too many tools, and how to properly handle this scenario?
I think right now it's a matter of how much context window are we
Hmm.
giving it access to? How
Hmm.
big are the prompts? Um, right now when I load Kiro, for example, it yells at me because it says you have too many tools. Um, so I don't have a good answer yet. Again, it's testing. I'm sure people that are more specialists in this have an answer or have an opinion, but right now, like I see what I like. I think it's so I'll give it in the context of like we talk a lot about FinOps, like,
Hmm.
and we have our friends over at Keys to AWS Optimization. And last year when we were at the FinOps X conference, everyone was talking about how do you optimize for AI, how do you save for the costs. And most of the people were like, we just when a new model comes out, it's way cheaper. And then we just use that. And sometimes like the instead of like having to really dig into all your token usage and really trying to optimize the amount of tokens, like it just is maybe we just move to a cheaper model because the models keep getting cheaper. So like sometimes it's like yes, you can design around your constraints and there's a limited context window and you have so many tools that you need to, but then within a month or two, okay, now we up the context window. So it's
Hmm.
everything's just moving so fast. Like anything that I say here, I feel like in a month I'm going to be wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Habak says, thank you. It's interesting to learn these. And then Robert Table says, have you heard about cavemen, specifically dumbing down input and output to save on token usage? Oh,
Yes, yeah. So we actually, I think almost a year ago. Do you remember, Samara, when we had, you might have, I think Brooke was doing this with us. So
okay.
what we were showing was an AI app that when it returned a response, it was like a yes or a no. Like and it
Oh,
was only
yes,
a Y or an
because he
N.
saved on the tokens that would be used for the exact output. So then it was the
Yeah.
reduction of output. Yes, I remember that. Hmm.
So you can if your app doesn't need to like is like yes, no, or maybe, and it's just Y, N, or M, and then you're feeding that into additional like logic
Hmm.
that you're coding, like
That's
we
optimization
can
right
save
there.
on tokens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then yes, the prompt size does matter.
Yep.
And then the smaller the input and the out, like the output, the quicker you're going to get a response. But I'm getting very quick responses, I think, from
Yeah,
our
and
little
then
training
Reginaldo says, I heard about cavemen. Some guy tested against Be Brief and noticed a better result than cavemen. Oh, okay.
app. Okay, so we're in the CLI. So for
Hmm.
context, I'm gonna take a step back because we're two-thirds of the way through the stream. We're just learning how to build agentic AI apps or demystifying what an agent is. I've been hearing it so much. I'm sure Zamar, you have too.
About which one? Sorry, there was a spider that flew in and I was trying not
Oh
to freak out.
no! Oh no! Do you need to take care of it?
Yes, I just pushed it out.
Like I'm sure you've been hearing like just like agentic, agent over and
Yes.
over.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Yes. It's a hot topic right now for sure.
So we're just demystifying this together, and so we've created this little demo app that's from the CLI, but we're not fully to the point where people, uh, yeah, Robert Tables is correct. A spider flew in.
I don't know. I feel like so the air vent is like right above me. So it started going on and then I guess like the airflow kind of like made it come from whatever it went. So it made it fly right into me. And I thought it was like a fly or something at first. And then he landed in my desk and I was like, ah!
And Reginaldo says it's a web designer.
That's a good one.
That's so great. Oh, all right. Well. I like this too. I'm kind of sick of my AI using emojis. I like that a
Kara is
lot.
instructed not to use emoji and be as brief as possible with no correct. Oh, yeah. So actually, with I've been using the Kiro IDE a lot lately, and then that's one thing that I've actually been working on too, to kind of just be more straightforward with the things that I wanted to build or kind of build solutions around, because I also find that sometimes it's just very lengthy on its response, and I'm more of like I just want to read like a couple of sentences rather than like a whole paragraph.
So we were just testing out our simple agent via the CLI, but I think most of us know that we're generally doing this via some sort of front end. And so that's what I've just started as a unicorn server. And let's see if it's available. Um, I should probably do HTTPS. And, or maybe it's local. Let's see. Hold on. I have a couple different options here. Well, it's not going to be running on my computer, is it?
Oh,
No, as I thought. So I'm trying to load it. Come on. Or maybe I have to. Okay. I'm constantly in my prompts asking the model to keep responses under 100 words. So what is that? How much are you getting? Like, A, what are you using this in Bedrock or a different tool? And B, how is it working out? Let's see. If this is on my EC2, then it should be running locally on the EC2. Or
oh,
not.
now you
I'm
have a
not
lot of
realizing
red
it.
right
Okay.
there.
Okay. Uh, so I can't load this, but basically, you can have a front end that'll look very similar to
Uh,
this.
Ari says Kiro and Chat GPT usually good.
Oh. Hold on, guys. Oh my God. The website's down, everybody.
Oh no. Should we
Like this.
troubleshoot?
So in a Streamlight app that I'm actually running it, I just can't access it. Yeah, maybe
uh
I have to open the port somewhere. I'm not gonna troubleshoot the firewalls right now, but it'll look like this. So and then we're essentially getting the same outputs from the CLI as before, but now there's like a nice little front end,
Right.
which I
Kind
do
of
like.
like a UI version, kind of more
Um,
straightforward for users.
we can also do, I think, one last piece for today.
Oh,
So we're
we
talking
are
about
already
very
at the
basic stuff, but
15-minute
now we can
mark.
go, if we want, like multimodal, which I've been doing recently. I've been kind of trolling my friends, and whenever they have a birthday, I generate a really silly Gen AI birthday card for them instead of sending really sweet gifts. Oh, I'm building agents for my Curiosity CLI and trying to understand whether local agents follow a different design pattern than production agents. Are there meaningful difference in how they're structured or implemented? If you're using strands, should it should be the same, is my 2 cents on that. But
Do you make
I
them
think we need
syncing?
to spend some time in Agent Core, Samara and I,
Yes.
to play around a bit. But
Uh,
you can create a harness and do a harness test, and then test your stuff against your endpoints. But I think in general, um, you should be able to just use Strands SDK and be on your way. Okay. Let's. I'm gonna clear this out.
Okay, so what are we walking through now? Sorry, I think I got distracted with the last comment.
We're going to move on to multimodal for the last
Okay.
little section, which is over here. So we've got a lot of different files here
Mhm.
that is giving some context to um, not just text, but if we're looking at things like images,
Okay,
what we
I'm
would
breaking
want
the
the
screen.
format of that agent to look like, what formats we'd accept,
Okay.
and then what helper files. So what we're saying is, hey, you can do
Hmm.
PNG, JPEG if you're gonna look at a document, PDF, doc, docx. Who's using a normal doc these days? Oh,
Uh,
things happen.
oh, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Mara, oh, is it just me or I can't hear you, Mara?
You can't hear me?
It's probably me. Hold on.
Can the rest of the audience hear me? Yeah, they can hear me.
Okay, good.
Okay.
This is me. I fixed it.
It says, by the way, spiders do what's called ballooning, where they release a long thread and soar like a chartless web. I like spiders, though. I'm the one saving them from life. Good one. Okay. All right.
So this is me prompting for an image,
Shows two cats sitting on the window sill looking at each other. One
black and
is it,
white
oh, I
cat.
see. I thought that you had to, okay, black and white cat, and the other one is calico.
Calico.
Oh,
Calico cat.
how do you say it? Calico?
Yeah,
Calico.
calico.
Orange, black, and white cat. They're positioned face to face on what appears to be a wooden window ledge with an autumn scene visible through the window behind them, featuring blurred orange foliage and bare tree branches. Okay, cool.
So did it, I should see, did it create something? I don't think it did.
Yeah, is it
I think this,
working through it or because it just give you the text right back, pretty much.
because it just saw sorry, it saw the image and it told me what it was. It says,
Uh,
any
yeah, I
hints
was
or
just gonna bring
strategies
that up.
to make the model verify their own responses to ensure quality? So I've been seeing a lot of our coworkers start to do this where you have like um essentially the LLM as a judge, like start to evaluate and you
Mhm.
give it different steering depending on what form or sub-agent function you want it to have. And I've been hearing good results in terms of, but again, it's also just like how many tokens do you want to burn? Like how much, cycles do you want to do? Robert Table says, my first cat was a rescue calico. Oh, geez, the literal devil.
But you know what? Funny, I don't think I have ever heard that word before. I think this might be my first time learning what that was. So I definitely learned something outside of
Outside of
Agent
AI.
Core today.
So let me find the example image. So it
And then Robert
opened
Table says you can pit models against each other to validate the results in thinking. It works pretty well.
test files. Where is it? Oh, sample
Sample
images.
image, there you go.
So which one was it? I'm trying to
Can
see
you
which
just ask it like showcase the image and then should it prompt it for you or select the final image created?
one. I'm looking just to see
It
where
says
it's
briefly
opening
describe
local
what's
files test.png. So it should be under. Oh,
so
here.
you yeah, local files and then just there you go.
There's our image. This is
Okay.
what it's on. It was just
Mhm.
looking at its own. So that's Calico, by the way. This coloring.
Oh, that's so nice. I like that.
So let's see. If we do message document, which is this one, we are pulling from test.pdf.
Then we have,
So
yeah,
we're
open
basically
it
asking it to
to just go through
go,
like the different,
go through this PDF, but of course it's
right.
like see all the legal docs. So this is actually kind of helpful because then I can't read it. So I'm going to ask the model to read it for me. Move this out of the way. Says this document discusses a philosophy. So it's
Mm.
summarizing the document for me. That is characterized by scholarly complexity and intricate arguments.
Mm.
So again, this is like now we're able to feed. We're not just giving it text prompts. We're giving it images. And really, again, these are all simple examples. You all know that how to do this when you're trying to use a foundation model on your own. But now we're talking about like how to craft your own agent and like what
Mhm.
functions the agent can do. What models are you going to call? What is like the outputs it's going to do? But now we have we talk also about guardrails. Like now we also have the guardrails in terms of what we're saying, and we're saying you should briefly describe what's in the document.
Yeah, be more purposeful with the output and then also optimizing pretty much the cost of how you're using it.
Mhm.
I mean, at the
So
end of the day, I feel like it's up to the user preference, right? Some people want it to be like more of a lengthier response than then just having like abbreviation like Y for yes and N for no, right? So it's just up to how you want to test it and how you want it to display those messages as well.
exactly. I think it's interesting. So folks were talking about the the context engineering, like trying to use less tokens, trying to limit the amount of
Mhm,
tools available to an agent, maybe dividing the labor across multiple agents.
mhm,
Robert
mhm,
was saying you can pit the models against each other,
mhm.
which works pretty well. Especially, I think it's going to get very interesting because if you look into um, just normal Bedrock today, you can really there's such a plethora of models that you can find the one that is like the best judger versus the one that's the best creator. Uh, I mean, we've got
I guess well,
Gemma.
like how will you determine that just based on what you're looking to do?
I think it's testing. It's also
Mhm,
cost. Like
mhm,
you're
mhm.
if you want to use Opus versus Haiku, like, it's a big difference in cost.
We have
Does
one
AWS
question.
have some caching for models? I was using Cloud Code and was surprised how much caching they use. Um, so I think with Agent Core, if I'm not mistaken, um, there's memory. So so there's caching for prompts, obviously, and I don't know what our solution is for that off the top of my head. But in
Mm.
terms of the context window and storing the events in the long-term records, that's where we configure the memory within Agent Core. But I don't know if that answers your question. Roche
It's
says a talk for Dungeons and Dragons and AI.
oh,
Oh, that's
nice.
awesome.
Congratulations.
I really hope that's recorded. I would love to see it.
I know. You have to share it. All right, we're 5 minutes out if we go to the top of the hour, Matt. So before we wrap up today's episode, anything else that you want? Oh, we have another question, I guess, before. Can you invoke the code how much tokens are remaining? Can you invoke the code how much? Maybe you can ask it how many coins tokens it has remaining is probably what it's looking for.
I mean, I don't have any limits on tokens. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
on this account. I can see what my quotas are. Let's see. I can even see that. I don't have access to look at it. Um, I mean, you can see my defaults are like 2 million tokens per minute, which is pretty crazy. So I think we're okay here. Like really, like when you think about running out of tokens, it's like, do I have a subscription to, let's say, Quad or Hero, and then I have a certain amount of tokens or credits? I think here we're not in danger, let's say. But
That's
yeah,
not a top of mind.
I think this is a good stopping point to say like,
Yes. Hmm.
um, you know, this is really again like trying to be. Oh, thanks, Reginaldo. I appreciate it. Just trying to like make this stuff less of a black box. Like sometimes when people just keep talking about agent this, agent that, like I think that like it makes it seem like it's bigger than what it is, and really at the end of the day, it's your ability
Hmm.
to write code or in this case Python that defines what the model can do in terms of like what it has access to, the tools that you define, the whether it can read files or not, and how it can read those files. Because even in this um, multimodal, we've got these multimodal helpers that's saying like, um, you need to customize based on your target's model's capabilities. Like, what are we going to be able to pass as a function? Um, what are we going to build, let's say, as a front end that looks like this?
Hmm.
So it's all within your power. If you want to build something that's a specific agent for your um, for your application, or maybe you call that agent because instead of having to write a ton of code that's deterministic, you build the tooling and then you let the agent figure it out. I don't know. What do you think, Samara?
I think that there is so much out there right now, and I feel like for everyone, it's like, you're hearing all of this and how the different models work and the different things that you can do and the different user experiences. It's just a matter of picking, not even picking, but then just seeing what works for you for what you're trying to do. I feel that for building solutions, especially if you don't come from a coding background, it's a great way, a great way to use it as an assistant to you to be able to do something that before you were limited to not do, right? So I like it from that aspect and viewpoint.
So, oh, we've actually got a lot of comments, so let's do that instead. Borghetti's saying, I think it's indispensable reason by now with the AI orchestrators to build a solid AI agentic ecosystem. NCP server, the skills, the tools, artifacts, tool, all is orchestrated by this new AI platform because it's necessary to go ahead and address the other two strategic issues. One, how to increase the memory of your agents. Two, how to avoid paying for tokens.
Optimization is always in the conversation. You're never going to escape it.
Um, Robert Tables is helping out Reginaldo in the comments from what's Spectre in development. I agree with this. Like Hero CLI or Hero IDE, you can build those specs first and really
Hmm.
not nail out the details of what you want it to do. And we were talking about this last week. Like even you think what might be the simplest app, you realize it has like 12 to 15 different features or functionalities you need to build just for that very simple thing.
Hmm.
But it works really, really well. So yeah, so next steps for folks, I would say we're talking about OpenClaw. You can now deploy OpenClaw on Lightsail, which I think is pretty cool. And then I was just showing Zamara today, of
Hmm.
all days. Everyone's been talking about Cloud Code, obviously. You can now run Cloud Platform on AWS. That's as of today, which I think is really cool.
Maybe we should put this in another coming episode, Matt.
It just came out today, Zamara.
We can work towards it.
Well, I want to thank everyone. We've had some really, we had our regulars like Borghetti and Robert Tables and Erie Edits in the chat. Thank you so much.
and
And then
some
for
and
our
someone
new friends,
expected guests as well,
yeah,
like the spider.
Havoc, Reginaldo. Oh yeah, and the spider. Um, and Robert says that'd be a fun session. Show us Claude and Docker on lights. Oh geez, now we're combining all the topics. Maybe I'll need to bring in some of my Gen AI expert friends to dive deeper in these topics. I feel like I'm barely qualified.
Thank you,
I really appreciate
Reginaldo.
it,
And
Reginaldo.
then Robert Tables.
Yeah,
Reinvent this
I,
year is gonna be wild. Plus
and
one.
I will say so. We're just starting planning reInvent this year. There's some updates to it that I'm really excited about. Nothing crazy, but like I don't know if I can announce them, but just things that make the quality of life of the experience better. So I'm really excited. Hey, oh, we're already at time, so
With
thanks
that,
everybody. Yeah.
thank you for joining, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. And thank you, Matt, for today.
Oh,
Bye,
thanks,
everyone.
Samara. Thanks, everyone. Bye.